And we know now.
Hello?
You are live. Hello.
Hello? Oh, okay. Can you make me a host so that I can share my screen?
It's okay.
Okay. All right. Just a moment, please. All right. It's a pleasure to be here. Can you hear me, please? Hello?
Yes.
You can hear me, please?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I just want to be sure that I'm heard. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. If you are from Nigeria, if you are in other parts of the country, good morning, and also good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are joining this program from. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Ade Ogun Joseph Coyote. I count it a great privilege to be in your midst at this moment. And today I have the privilege to stand on this platform to speak on a topic that is very dear to my heart. And what is the topic? Overcoming the fear of public speaking. But before I take up this topic, I would like to briefly introduce the platform that affords me the opportunity to be here, and that is International Internship University, IIU. So let me quickly do a brief introduction of International Internship University. International Internship University is the world's first internship-based virtual university, building a better and brighter future for all young learners, and is committed to provide quality, accessible, affordable, skills-based, and location-independent education to learners across the world. IIU is providing access to more than 1,000 plus courses and internships to their e-learners across the globe, with the theme of high caliber and experienced global educators. IIU has been accredited and affiliated with the World Education Organization, WEO, and International Accreditation Organization, IAO, and collaborated with all the world's top university and educational institutions through the platform of massive open online courses. IIU provides various certificates and diploma courses. There's always that one person who has a vision, the thoughts, the idea behind a successful venture and organization. And if we talk about the man behind the scene or the success of IIU, is no other person than a beloved co-founder of IIU, Mr. Feroz Pandit. He concocted the world's first virtual internship university during a pandemic, the International Internship University. All right, with that brief introduction of International Internship University, let me quickly do a brief introduction of myself. Once again, my name is Adeogun Joseph Kayode. I am a certified content creator and content marketing strategist. And it will also interest you to know that I'm a certified public speaker by Dale Academy here in Nigeria. I also want to appreciate my coach, Mr. Izu Samuel, for this privilege that he gave me to get certified as a public speaker and communicator. I will be speaking on the topic, overcoming the fear of public speaking. It has been noted that one of the top fears that people struggled with these days is the fear of public speaking. In fact, if you pull a crowd of people and ask them their greatest fear, you will not be surprised that public speaking usually ranks number one. In fact, a recent research reveals that, that there are top 5 fears that people struggled with. And the first one that topped the list is public speaking, followed by deaths. The third one is spider. The fourth one is darkness. And the fifth one is heights. Now, what did you notice from these top 5 fears? People are always afraid of expressing themselves in the public. They always prefer to be at the back end, as it were. They don't want to be on the limelight. Let me share a brief information with you. Recently, I conducted with clients at a seminar. And a few weeks ago, I also conducted a research in a workshop. I noticed that 67 people find public speaking difficult, while the remaining 33% are comfortable with their public speaking skill. But as the saying goes, the largest room in this world is the room for improvement. So how can the fear of public speaking be managed? Right? It cannot be totally overcome, but it can be managed. So whether you are overcoming the fear of public speaking, whether you are managing the fear of public speaking, we are still trying to bring out the main point that when you struggled with expressing yourself in public, you find it very difficult to express yourself very well in public. So we are going to be looking at how to improve your public speaking skills in every area of your life, from your career to personal life, then down to social skills. Then we're also going to look at some tips or strategies that can help you to be an effective public speaker. So I'm going to be using my slide here to emphasize some of the points I have prepared for today's program. So the first slide, there you can see my abridged profile. A certified marketing strategies by Google, by eMarketing Institute, and by HubSpot. I'm also a trainer on leadership and management by Global Trainer Academy, and also certified by Dage Academy as a public speaker and communicator. Now, before we look at what constitutes the fear of public speaking, the question is, what is public speaking? You need to understand what public speaking is before you can understand how to overcome the fear of public speaking. So we need to pick it from the roots. So what is public speaking? According to Wikipedia, public speaking also refers to oratory or oration. It means the art of speaking face-to-face to a live audience. So as I'm here on this platform, I'm engaging in a public speaking because I'm speaking to a live audience. It could be face-to-face. It could be as it is being streamed on Facebook and on Zoom, or it could be on any platform where people watch you live while you are making presentation. That is a simple definition of public speaking. It also includes any form of speaking. It could be formally and informally. Formally can be described as I'm making presentation. It's a formal presentation. It was earlier advertised. So there was no impromptu or a sudden information as regards this presentation. So it is formal. So I know the topic I want to speak on and the emphasis I want to lay on each of the points I've prepared. But if it is informal, it is an impromptu speech. For example, if you are making a ceremonial speech in a social gathering where you never prepared to give a presentation, it's an example of informal speaking. So when you speak to an audience, whether formal or informal public speaking, it includes pre-recorded speech delivered over great distance by means of technology. All right, so having said that, we have looked at the simple definition of what public speaking is. Now, what are the elements? What constitutes public speaking? Whether you are speaking formally, whether you are speaking informally, what constitutes public speaking? We are going to look at, there are 6 elements of public speaking that we want to look at. The first one is the speaker. As I'm making the presentation on this platform, I am the speaker. I'm the one doing the talking while you are paying attention to my presentation. So the speaker is the one giving the speech, or rather, the genesis of the communication process. All right? Good. So that is the first element of public speaking. Then another important element of public speaking, whether it is formal or informal, is the message you want to pass across to your audience. It is the information you want your audience to get from your presentation. From this presentation, the information I want to pass across to you is very simple. How you can overcome the fear of public speaking, how you can be an effective public speaker, how you can be a confident public speaker or a communicator wherever you find yourself. That is a message I'm trying to pass across to the audience and to you as an individual. All right, then another element of public speaking is the audience. You are listening to my presentation. That makes you an audience.
But now you are live. See, first of all,
Sorry, there's a distraction. All right, okay, let me continue with my presentation. So an audience is a group of people listening to your information. So I was trying to give an example before the distraction. You are listening to my message, you are listening to my presentation. That makes you an audience. You are paying attention to my presentation. That is another element of public speaking. Then we also look at the channel or the medium by which you are going to deliver your speech. And that is what we can rather call the channel, the means by which the message is to be delivered or is to be presented. In this case, I'm on Zoom making a live presentation. You are watching me on Facebook Live. That is also a channel by means by which I passed the message or my presentation. All right, so we look at interference. That is the fourth element of public speaking. Now, what do we mean by interference? Interference is, you will notice that a few minutes ago, there was a kind of a distraction while I was making the presentation. That is an interference. So while making your presentation, there could be noise at the background, either from the speaker or from the audience. That is an interference that can, in one way or the other, affect your presentation. Okay, then we look at the feedback. That is the sixth element of public speaking. The feedback, simply put, it is the response of your audience while you are making your presentation. I'm very sure some of you will be making comments on Facebook Live as I am making this presentation, live presentation. So it is a response you will get from your audience during your public speaking. Sometimes it could be verbal response. Sometimes it could be non-verbal response. Your audience sometimes could give you a sign to show that they are enjoying your presentation. Sometimes they could verbalize their feedback by, saying what they feel while you are making your presentation. So these are the six elements of public speaking. Now, if properly used, these six elements of public speaking will make you to be an effective public speaker. For example, if the message is not well delivered, you get your audience confused. The message will not be rightly passed. You will lose your audience. If the right channel is not used as one of the elements of public speaking, you will also lose the message, you will lose your audience, and your intention will be defeated. So it's important that you pay attention to these six elements of public speaking. So in summary, to summarize what I've mentioned earlier as regards the element of public speaking, now there are six elements of public speaking, and it basically boils down to who is saying what. Take note, who is the speaker? What is the message that the speaker is trying to pass across to the audience, as I mentioned earlier? And to whom the message is being passed across, and that is your audience. Using what medium? So in other words, who is the source of the message? That is the speaker. What is the message itself? The essence of making the presentation. Why whom is the audience, and the medium is the actual delivery method and the ending effects of your presentation. Now, let's get to the meat of the presentation, and that would take us to 10 things you need to be aware of if you have the privilege to make a public presentation. Whether it is formal presentation, whether it is informal presentation, what are the 10 things you need to bear in mind? Now, the first thing you want to take into cognizance when you are making a public presentation is take your time to create your speech. Don't do a wishy-washy preparation while you are making your presentation. You will notice that I have a slides of presentation. In fact, I have some other notes beside me that if there's need to do that, I will just peep and bring out one or two points that I want the audience to understand. So the first thing you should bear in mind before you make your presentation is take time to create your speech. In creating your speech, you may need to do some research, which is very necessary for you to make an effective presentation. Sometimes you may need to use some external sources to buttress your points. it is very important that you do a research on how you want to go about making your presentation appealing to your audience. If you don't want to bore your audience, take time to create your presentation, your speech. In fact, even if it is an informal presentation, for example, if you are in a social gathering and you are informed that you will be taking the vote of thanks, for example, or you'll be taking the closing remarks, for example, you can do what we call, you can have what we call a mental outline. Yes, you don't have it in writing, you don't have it in slides, you quickly have a mental outline on how you want to systematically make your presentation appealing to your audience. That's what I mean by taking time to create your speech. Then the second thing you should bear in mind to overcome the fear of making a presentation is to practice your speech. Practice, they say, make what? Perfection. Practice, practice, practice. There's no end to practicing your speech. You can do it as many times as possible. Before I make this presentation, I've rehearsed the presentation severally in the presence of my children, and even in the presence of my wife. And on my own too, I make a personal rehearsal severally, just to be sure I'm making the right presentation that the audience will benefit or enjoy. So take time to make constant practice of your presentation. Where you are not too clear of a particular or one or two points, do research. And if you're not too sure, leave it. If you're not too sure of a particular point you want to emphasize, leave it. Than giving it to the audience and you get them confused. So practice your speech, then prepare your outfit. There is a saying that goes this way, that the way you dress is the way you will be what? Addressed. Now, in this context, your audience will assess you as a professional speaker from your outlook, your appearance. So it behoves you, it becomes very important that you pay attention to your outfit. First, it makes you look smart, and you will be confident of yourself while making your presentation because you are looking presentable, all right? So it becomes very important. Then record yourself and see what you can improve on. I've mentioned that earlier, and that is to corroborate the second point that I made earlier, that you need to practice your speech. So you can record yourself, you can do a voice recording of yourself and see where you need to make amends. If there's need to make improvement in one area or the other, it could be in your pitching, it could be in your intonation, it could be the way you pronounce some words or the way you express yourself. Record yourself so that you know where you need to improve. Then it becomes very important that you set a timer to make sure your speech finishes on time. When you go over time, you get your audience bored. Your audience will be lost when you are to make a presentation of, say, 20 minutes, and you are using 30 minutes, you are using 40 minutes, and you are using an hour for a presentation of 20 minutes. All right, so you need to time yourself and make sure that you finish on time. You can finish before the time given to you. Well, there's no crime there, but it is unprofessional for you to make a presentation of 20 minutes using extra 5 minutes, using extra 10 minutes, or using extra 20 minutes. So set a timer to make sure that you finish your presentation on time. With this, you'll be able to ease your fear of public speaking because you've already timed yourself. You've timed each of the slides you want to present. Then I also mentioned that you need to practice. And that is a sixth point, practice in front of friends. You can do a personal rehearsal. You can do a personal practice of your presentation. Then you can also practice in front of friends, in front of professionals who can help you to improve in one area of your presentation. All right, the seventh thing you need to bear in mind is visualize yourself doing your speech. Yes, you are making practice, but visualize that you have mammoth crowd in front of you. You have group of persons in front of you listening to your presentation. So what that helps you to do is it makes you to compose yourself. It makes you to present yourself in a way that will help your audience to understand the message you are trying to pass across to them. So visualize yourself doing your speech. Though you are doing one-on-one practice or you are practicing in front of your friends, but visualize that you have audience listening to your presentation. All right, well, there could be anxiety while making your presentation. There could be a butterfly in your stomach, as it were. Every public speaker, whether you are a professional public speaker, in one way or the other, you find yourself fidgeting sometimes while making a presentation, especially when you are on a platform that you never believe that you will have the opportunity to speak on. So you need to take deep breaths. Relax before you speak. Did you take note of that? Before you make or while making your presentation, take a deep breath. Relax before your speech. And that is the 8th point. Then if there is need, you can take a cup of water. You can drink water so as to have a balanced voice, to clear your throat. If there's need to do that, take a cup of water. Then the last but not the least, on what you need to bear in mind before you make your presentation or your speech is check everything to avoid technical difficulties. For example, I'm making a live presentation on Zoom. I have all my gadgets set up already, and I just use the link sent to me to join this live streaming. So you need to put into cognizance the technical difficulties that you might experience. In fact, I have my iPad set up here as a backup in case the laptop is giving some glitches or some challenges. So check everything so that you will be able to avoid technical difficulties. So what are the tips for making your public speaking easier? What are the tips you need to bear in mind to make your presentation effective and also to make it a speech that others will want to emulate? The first point you want to bear in mind is know your audience. Remember, I mentioned that one of the elements, apart from being a speaker, is your audience, those you are speaking to. Know your audience. Presentation to a variety of people can present itself. You can find yourself making a presentation to school children, to students, or to pupils of different ages. So you need to know your audience before you make your presentation. Now, do you know why this is important? Do you know why it is important to know your audience? Knowing your audience will help you to know the right message to pass across to them. All right? And if you are making a presentation to undergraduates too, it becomes very important that you also understand your audience too. If you are speaking to business professionals, if you are speaking to entrepreneurs, you need to understand the terminologies used or that is peculiar to that audience, or that is peculiar to that niche of audience you are speaking to. So if you have different experts in the audience, you need to understand them. Use terminologies that they will understand. Don't use a terminology or terminologies that others will struggle with. No, the purpose of your message will be defeated. So you need to know your audience very well. And for you to do that, you need to ensure that the content, the language, your tone, your body language are appropriate for your audience. So what this simply means is that you need to try to understand why the audience is listening to you. So why are you listening to my presentation? Simply put, you want to overcome the fear of public speaking. Is that not so? Good, good. You want to overcome the fear of public speaking. And if you are a good public speaker, you also want to see how you can improve in your public speaking or communication skills. So you need to ask yourself this question: what will I gain from listening to this talk? If the table were to be turned, if the table were to be turned, if I were to be the audience listening to my presentation, another person or another presenter, another speaker is making this presentation, if I were to listen to this speaker, what will I gain from listening to the presentation or to the talk? And it also becomes very important that you need to be clear about your goal and what the audience should gain from attending your public speaking presentation. Additionally, you want to establish your credibility. Now, what that simply means is, if you are using some statistics, you need to give credit to the statistics or to the source of your presentation. That is what makes your presentation credible. So when you are making your presentation to your audience, let them know the source of your the materials you are presenting. It becomes very important. It makes you more credible. It makes you gain the respect of your audience. The another important point that can help you to manage or to overcome the fear of public speaking is to know your topic very well. The better you know your topic, the less likely you are to be caught by surprise when an audience brings an unexpected question or questions. You visualize questions, likely questions that your audience may ask you based on your presentation. This helps you to feel more relaxed, to feel more composed while you are making your presentation. And you are also less likely to forget what you are going to say and find yourself grasping for words if you are well versed in the subject matter you are speaking on. Right? Now, if you look at the picture, I hope you can see this picture. All right, you see a lady making a presentation in the first picture. You can see that she is relaxed while the audience are paying rapt attention. All right. Then look at the second picture. What can you see in the second picture? You will notice that while the speaker was making his presentation, he was not too clear about what he's saying. The audience were busy sleeping. And you see the picture underneath. The audience are happy. Their facial expression shows that they are enjoying the presentation. And that is what you will see when you give a presentation that you are well versed in. You know your topic very well. Okay? Then the third point you want to bear in mind while you are making your presentation or before you make your presentation is to choose a topic you are passionate about. I told you that I'm a certified public speaker and I've had years of experience in public speaking. So when I was approached by Corina to choose a topic, I have no other topic in mind than public speaking, how to overcome the fear of public speaking, because this is a topic that is very dear to my heart, that I'm passionate about. So when you are called upon to choose a topic, when you have the privilege to make a presentation, choose a topic you are passionate about. So from experience as a public speaking coach, I have noticed that over the years, that many public speakers find that their nerves vanished when they are talking about something they care deeply about. You don't need to look at a note, or you don't need to look at a notepad before you speak or before you express yourself enthusiastically from your heart, because you understand or you have chosen a topic you are passionate about, that you have deep interest in. Your passion for the topic override any fear of public speaking that you may otherwise have. So when you have the opportunity to speak, choose a topic you can comfortably handle. I've rejected so many public speaking gigs on topics that I know little or nothing about, because I know I'm not professional. I'm not an expert in that niche that I'm asked to speak on. So it is advisable you choose a topic you can comfortably handle. The another way to overcome the fear of public speaking or to manage the fear of public speaking is to organize your materials. If you have not planned your presentation and you are not quite sure of what you are going to say, then there is a reason for you to be nervous, because you have nothing to present to your audience. So it's important that you organize your material, plan your presentation so that you are sure of what will come first, what will follow, or what will come next. And that is your tension while you are making your presentation. So to avoid getting nervous, don't leave the success of your presentation to chance. You want to plan it carefully. Sometimes it can take you as much as weeks to prepare your presentation. Good. This will help you to be effective while you are making your presentation. Sometimes it could be within a short period of time. Whatever it takes you to organize your material, give it your time. Never toil or leave to chance the success of your presentation. You want to plan it carefully. And you can also start by writing a good, well-structured speech. It makes you organized when your speech or your presentation is well-structured. And next, it becomes very important that you make sure that your presentation looks professional. And one way you can make your presentation look professional is when you have them in PowerPoint presentation. You look more professional, and you have some pictures to back up your the points you emphasize in your presentation. Becomes very important. All right, and while making your presentation too, you want to pay attention to non-verbal communication. Now, what do I mean by non-verbal communication? Simply put, it is your facial expression, your body language, the tone and the pitch of your voice, your gesture or the gesture you display through the body language, and your physical distance between you and your audience. So what is a positive body language? You need to bear in mind. You need to have a relaxed posture while you are making your presentation. You need to relax your hand. You need to have a good eye contact with your audience. You need to nod in agreement when there's need to do so. For example, if you are asking your audience question and they respond positively to your question, you can nod in agreement to the response given to the questions or question you ask your audience. Then you want to listen carefully so that you avoid misunderstanding your audience. These are part of body languages that you need to bear in mind. Then you need to use gesture from time to time, to gesticulate, in order to emphasize your main point. At this junction, I've made some points that I think will help you to become an effective public speaker. I also want to add this as additional points to what I've said earlier. And this, in a way, will make you to become an effective public speaker. You also need to smile while making your presentation. Don't frown your face while making your presentation. Smile. Maintain eye contact with your audience and put on a smiling face. All right, I've mentioned that you need to gesticulate. All right. I also mentioned that you need to practice. All right. While making your presentation, you also need to be very clear too. Be concise in your presentation. Don't use ambiguous or difficult words that your audience will struggle to understand. Use stories. The power of storytelling cannot be overemphasized. It helps you to connect with your audience. So use stories that are relatable, stories that your audience can easily relate with. Now, do you know what this will help you to achieve? It will help to increase your self-confidence. It will help to improve your communication skills while you are making your presentation to your audience, because you are using stories they can easily relate with. And another importance of the power of storytelling is that it enhances your persuasion ability. For example, you are using a story that your audience can easily connect with. You can see that they will be in tune with your presentation because you are using story or stories they can easily relate with. So I will be drawing the curtains of my presentation. And to summarize what I've said so far, I've mentioned so far that while making your presentation, you need to make your presentation credible. You also need to make your presentation be very organized. Choose a topic you are passionate about. Know your topic very well, and also understand your audience. All right, so on this note, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I also want to thank